Hello and welcome and hello. Thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. It's Danny Deals, it's Hurricane Lopez, it's Whispering Puppy, it's Stock Karen, it's J Money, it's Not a Lurker, it's Alberto Bertie Aviles. We have assembled a FinTurd dream team of returders, ne'er-do-wells, wannabe mechanics wielding wrenches. Even though they work in cubicles, they yearn for the wrench. They yearn to do some real work. But guys, just obviously a very tough day. Push the stock down from that sort of 680 685 level where it's been hanging around for a little while, all the way down below 650. Open some puts at 650, of course, hedging, all kinds of things going on with options, but ton of shares trading on the day, kind of conflicting news. Of course, Noto bought another 30, I believe it was 31,000 shares today at $6.48. I actually bought another 3,100 shares today at also $6.48, and then I picked up another 400 shares, I think, at $6.44 or 45 cents or something like that. So I picked up 3,500 more shares today in addition to the 1,000 I picked up yesterday. Could be foolhardy. A lot of people said this thing's going back to 5, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'll tell you why. I'm reading what management is saying, and they're talking about tech, and they're talking about not speculatively what customers they might land, what customers they might start talking to. But Chris Lapointe was very direct. He was giving specifics. We're talking to many of the top banks in the country. Those talks are going extremely well. We're already onboarding new customers right and left, and they're in various stages of either starting to be monetized, about to be monetized, being onboarded. And they're talking about this radical revolution that's going on at Galileo, taking it from this company that basically services kind of smaller mom and pop accounts where they're signing up fintechs who are kind of starting from zero, much like Galileo, and then they're trying to build together, but it's going to take way too long to build that revenue base that way. So, Anthony Noto, and the executive team at Galileo basically said, we're going to stop trying to get these clients who aren't making us any money and are basically going to have to grow into significant profit centers for 5 and 10 years. And we're going to do a transition, and we're going to start to go after existing businesses, whether they be banks or whether they just be some other type of organization with a big membership base that they can exploit, offer financial services, offer cards, offer payment solutions, offer whatever it is through Galileo. And that transition sounds like it's proceeding according to plan, but pardon me, Lapointe came out and he's like, listen, everything's going extremely well. And Dan Dolev was asking him, like, well, how can you possibly get to 80 cents in 2026? It just doesn't seem possible. And Lapointe sounded extremely confident. He's gave an exact roadmap. He's like, listen, this is how you do it. And if you understand this business model, the revenue growth at SoFi is going to flow overwhelmingly to the bottom line because it's this digital native model. They don't have to add any new branches. They don't have to add any real estate. They don't have to add any utility bills. They just have to add a few new customer service people, a few new tech people to service a massive customer base. And they're not there yet. They're just at a tiny fraction of the business, of course, most of us expect to have toward the end of this decade. But if this company and Deadliest Catch Chris, aka Data-Driven Investing, said it quite well, went through this in a series of tweets on X and also on his Substack, which is not to be confused with my Substack, which involves a lot of extra meat and footlong and etc. But he's talking about how this company is just fundamentally undervalued. And then I guess you get to the point where it's like, does Wall Street just not believe management? Do they not think they can get there? Do they think Galileo is some kind of hoax? Do they think, lending, student loans, home loans, et cetera, won't ramp just dramatically once, we start to see one rate cut later this year? I think it could possibly be 2. I think inflation is actually, people were talking a lot about not just like Kathy Wood, but sort of, the Cherokee Princess Elizabeth Warren, different people. They're talking about how, this is kind of a new thing, and they spiked so much money into the supply with the pandemic that they're really, really lagging, and that maybe they should stop raising rates, and that this is all going to catch up, and we've gone way too far and overreacted, and by the time you completely crush the economy, unemployment's going to get out of control. We just have to see that. It's a very delicate balancing act for the Fed. The Fed has to say, hey, we're not going to cut rates. We're going to keep our foot on the neck of inflation, because if they come out and say, hey, things are looking pretty good, then the market goes crazy. They pump all kinds of money back into the system through, Robin turders and you turders and Weeble turders and just, all these young traders. They're just pumping too many Lambos into the system. You can only pump so many Lambos and G-Wagons into the system before you reach hyperinflation. And all of a sudden you're paying $400 for a loaf of bread. You're coming down to the grocery store with a pillowcase full of ruples, and you still can't afford half a loaf. So anyway, guys, welcome and hello and welcome. It's Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. Today it was more like I've got this child's sound machine, which is really pumping up my production values. It's not really a soundboard, it's kind of a bunch of nonsense. But anyway, guys, I wanted to jump on. I'm not going to stay on too long. It's been just a hell of a long day, long week. Not just because the Sofi stock's been getting beat up. That doesn't actually bother me. People are like, oh, you're afraid to come on when the stock goes down. You said it would hold 7. You're just a big fat asshole. And it's like, okay, let's get up. But no, I'm not afraid to come on. It actually doesn't bother me. I don't take it as a personal failure or anything when a stock I own goes down, and I don't take it as a personal accomplishment when a stock I own goes up. Now, if I fundamentally just misjudge a company and I'm wrong, and that bothers me. But with SoFi, I certainly don't concede anything. I think if they can reach 80 cents EPS in 2026. You're looking probably at a $35 stock at that point, because it's not the EPS, it's the growth that the EPS implies. It's the explosion of Galileo that EPS would imply, because otherwise, even with an explosion lending, even with net interest income, you don't get from 8 cents in 2024 and multiply your earnings per share by 10 and get to 80 cents in 2026 without an absolute explosion in these tech customers. And if you listen carefully to LaPointe, that's exactly what he's saying. He's saying we're onboarding customers. This thing is about to explode. That's how we get to those projections. And he sounded very, very confident, like they were sandbagging those projections. I mean, the way he was talking, it sounded like 80 cents was, being somewhat cautious. I might be the only one who heard that, but I might not. I don't know, guys. Welcome and hello. Let's take a look and see if anybody else is here. So I just wanted to okay, people are panicking about 650. Now, the stock recovered 7. The stock recovered 7. Whoops, sorry, it's on Draw. I hate Yahoo charts, but they're free and they're easy. So what are you going to do? The stock was touching 7 yesterday, closed about 680. I really don't like this candle. This is pretty ugly. But you can people are like, okay, it's free fall. It's free fall to 5. There's absolutely no support. Yes and no. Okay. I mean, if you come back here to November, and you got to go way back, because basically it hasn't touched this level. I mean, it actually went 2 cents lower back here in I guess this is November. I don't know what date that is, but somewhere in that week, it actually dropped a couple of cents lower than it did today. And then if you kind of back out and take a big picture look at this thing, this level has been support and resistance both a couple of times. So I wouldn't say it's the most key level on the stock, but it has hung around this line. And I just don't think we're in total free fall mode as yet, but it's very fair to say that if you break down below this level into the low 6s, there's just not much support for the stock. It's not to say it's going to fall all the way back to 4 or 5, but you just don't know what it's going to do. When do institutions want to flip it? How can they make the most money flipping it? Where are they comfortable accumulating? Obviously the Qatari sovereign wealth fund or whatever dumped all their shares of SoFi. It was like 20 million shares. This is FUD fodder. I personally don't think these Middle East sovereign wealth funds are, the sharpest knives in the drawer. I mean, these are the guys who, keep pumping money into Lucid. They gave Jared Kushner billions of dollars. He has no investment experience really whatsoever. So I think a lot of the reason they do things might be political. It could be something as simple as saying, oh, SoFi is too progressive. SoFi pissed off some other company we do business with. Maybe we have an extensive relationship with a couple of the mega banks, and they're telling us, like, why are you, propping up this company that is eating our lunch and taking our deposits? I have no idea. But maybe they're jealous of Anthony Noto's hair. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But bottom line, they sold a ton of stock. It put a lot of downward pressure, obviously, on Thursday when all that news came out. Of course, Noto today firing back another 30,000 shares. Remember, he raised his buy level basically from 5 to 7. So I think he was very happy to pick up those shares at $6.48. As was I. But the chart this is a tough stock because you just don't have that much track record. You only have a few quarters to go by. And those quarters were totally out of the norm in terms of any other period in market history. You had the SPAC mania. You had, them just printing money during COVID. You had, you have this massive spike. You had record long time with interest rates near zero. This massive spike in inflation. It's just a very weird time. And then, of course, you combine all that with the student loan pause that's lasted for years. And I think by all rights should have killed SoFi. It actually turns out was a trial by fire. And I think SoFi came out stronger on the other end. But, time will tell. I like this business. I was talking about this yesterday with the great and powerful Tevis. I like this business because of what they do. It's proven, it's tried and true. They're just doing it in new, innovative, cutting edge ways. Is it proven over the long term that crypto is a reliable business that the government's not going to regulate or make illegal if it becomes a threat to the money supply? I mean, I think that's highly, highly debatable. Is payment for order flow in its current form going to be around forever? Are gold cards where you pay people 5% to use, is that a money-making business? Is buy now, pay later, the type of bedrock you want to build a company on and invest on for the long term? For me, it's not. I mean, these businesses may grow. They may become, profit centers. They may be profitable sectors for decades to come, but I think the jury's still out. I think with SoFi, you get people are saying, oh, I just don't understand technology. It's such a black box. And I sort of felt that way, but I think LaPointe really opened this thing up, said we're signing customers all the time. We're talking to a lot of huge customers right now. It's going very, very well, but this thing takes a lot of time. It really takes 2 years to onboard a customer. It probably takes some additional time to see any revenue, but those revenues are going to have really, really long life cycles and they're going to be significant. So if you just keep signing up these companies, you're not going to lose customers because it's just too hard to leave. Too many barriers to exit, if you will. I mean, you're talking about, RFP. You're talking about going through probably at least several, 3, 5, 6 different companies submitting serious proposals. And you take, 2 to 4, or however many it is. I don't know exactly how these things work to the proof of concept stage. You probably have 2 or 3 finalists. You carry it through. And I think Galileo is in a unique position to win this business. Not only, I don't think they're worried about SoFi Bank. Some of these larger customers, certainly those that aren't even banks in their own right, they could be, some other type of organization. They could be a car company. They could be an airline. They could be, Costco. They could, whatever it is. I mean, there's huge, huge organizations that are not financial institutions, but they could certainly offer financial service. Think about SoFi. I mean, I know this is just a pipe dream. But think about, Costco branches in, SoFi sort of mini branches, mini service centers, mini lounges in, wherever it might be, Costco's, NBA stadiums. Just because SoFi is an all digital bank, it doesn't mean they can't have any physical presence to market their services. So I just think there's endless opportunities that haven't been exploited. And we're not even talking about, business banking, business lines of credit. We're not talking about all the things that spin off from student loans. Think of SoFi should start being the student loan company the day these freshmen show up for orientation. These are kids whose parents have money. These are kids who are going to be buying things. Get them on board. Get their parents on board. Make this thing happen. I mean, I need Noto selling a little harder. I thought Lapointe was really, really strongly advocating for the company, relaxed, confident, and explaining this is exactly how we get from A to B. This is how we're going to do it. Those of us who think it's not possible or that we're somehow making this up are just, completely full of shit, or they're just too lazy to do the research. And, the guys who did the research day with, Dan Dolev and Mark DeVries, I believe, Deutsche Bank, they came away thinking this is an $11 to $12 stock. Now, it's the people who don't do any work, who don't make any sense, that think this is, a $4 and $5 stock, or maybe even a $6 and a $7 stock as it sits today. So anyway, I think this level at 650, it's not like, absolute panic time by any means. But I think if you start to drop down, kind of below this level, this looks real meaty. You saw some definite run out of steam right here, sort of this 592, 593, 594, even here 610. So if you really convincingly break through 6 and get into free fall, yes, I mean 5 unfortunately is absolutely going to be in play, because you see the stock still basically respecting this downward trend line, sort of this upward bound, and this wedge where I was hoping, and I'm still hopeful it's going to break to the upside. I still, honestly haven't given up hope, because I'm not convinced you have a total breakdown after one candle stays below 7, even if it is a lot of shorting. There was a lot of shorting today. I'm sorry I'm rambling, guys. Just one of those Fridays. But let me get you a check of the live short interest here. Earlier they were borrowing, 6 million. So it's still flat. They returned shares after hours yesterday. Just seemed to return a ton of shares. But I'm not buying it, guys, because if you look at the short volume ratio, again, they're sucking everybody in. Especially on Wednesday, and the stock popped. You see the ratios below 40, even below 30, and then Thursday spikes back up to 58, and today spikes back up to 66. So they got to go right back to attacking the stock quite heavily, which is evident basically in the price action. But the thing I like about this is 75 million shares and a fair amount of pretty big orders coming in. I mean, you can see, obviously, this is just completely algo held here, but a lot of green candles, a couple of big red candles to drop it down, but there's clearly some accumulation going on. This free fall, if this was just a sell-off, just a fire sale, this would just continue. It wouldn't just hit a specific prescribed level of 650 and just start trading sideways in this controlled algorithmic fashion. But mechanics and shorts have decided this is how they're going to play it. The reason I think the Qatari thing just didn't make any sense to me is you have, for the first time, Lapointe or somebody in SoFi management coming out and giving a full-throated defense of their projections, of their roadmap, of their tech side, which, if you guys think about it, tech is really everything. Yeah, this is a great bank. It can grow as a bank, but it's not going to get you the type of growth, the type of valuation that you impatient turds yearn for deep in your soul or your loins or whatever you have going on. But yeah, guys, just a very tough day overall. It's un poco mas. Tevis could not be here tonight, so I was able to get the this corporate jargon sound effect machine. So, it does not have the wisdom, the youth, the backpacking experience of Tevis. This thing can probably get you 90% of what a management consultant or an ineffectual middle management suck up would bring to the table. So, if we need to drill down on anything,
let's really drill down on this.
This thing can pretty much answer any question.
Let's circle back to that.
So, whenever I'm in a board meeting, I just get out my corporate jargon sound effect machine and,
Let's take that offline.
Yeah, let's take that offline. Anyway, guys, welcome and hello and welcome. I'm going to get to some of your comments, but this is just something I drew on my whiteboard. Is like, you know, those things that say "you are here," where you're in a mall and you're just totally disoriented, and it's like LL Beans over there and the Gap's over there and hot dog on a stick's over there, and you know, I don't know, you're trying to find the movie theater and you're late for your movie, and you say, "Oh, there's the dot," and you still can't tell where the hell you are because you're an idiot. You can't read a map, and you just want it on your phone, but you can't get reception because the walls are too thick in the mall, and you just end up wandering around. You missed your movie, you eat too many corn dogs, and you go home and you watch reruns of WKRP in Cincinnati because you're a huge Les Nessman fan. You don't like Johnny Fever, but you're a huge Les Nessman fan. Anyway, guys, who doesn't love Les Nessman and Herb Tarlick and all those fan favorites from the 70s, those bell-bottom suits for Herb Tarlick? Oh, the ladies, man. But guys, I'm looking at this chart. Okay, last year, 36 cents. Okay, a loss. We're right here. We're just not even halfway through 2024, but everybody's saying 8 cents. Okay. And then 2025 is kind of not as exact projections, but then 2026, LaPointe's talking about 80 cents. So you just did all this hard work for years. You took all this pain. SoFi is a company that built a foundation when everyone else was chasing the fast buck. Robinhood, some of these companies, hey, we want payment for order flow. Hey, we want to make money off crypto. Hey, we want these kids who are in here day trading. Nothing wrong with that. More power to you. Do what you want. SoFi, I keep saying this, they're building their house out of bricks, not by the hair on our chinny chin chin. You sons of bitches, you short wing turds, you Lester Diamond like country club golf hustlers. All right, we've had enough, but we haven't had enough because you know, it is what it is. Sorry guys, got a few things going on. Yeah, it's one of those days, guys, but I'm just looking at this chart and I'm saying, okay, if you believe in management at all, even if you think they can hit the low end at 55, I still think the company is significantly undervalued. And everything about the business model is telling me this isn't imploding. It isn't going bankrupt. Some guy was just in the comments kept repeating like, oh, SoFi is now forced into a buyout because the share price is being held down by this. I'm like, how does that follow? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you look at their balance sheet, looks very healthy. You know, tons and tons of lending capacity, defaults, right along projections. Everything seems to be going really, really well according to their plan, not just for the tech side, Galileo Technesis, but SoFi writ large. Like, you know, the plan Noto laid out when they hired him for this job. They're really executing, in my opinion, but it looked like the shorts might have been letting go like the last 7-8 trading days with this, you know, lot of options volume. They come in and absolutely slam the door. We talk about Max Payne 7 again. The first time you see Max Payne lift from $7 to $8 is August the 16th. Every single day for the next 2 months, it's sticking right at Max Payne of $7 thus far. No new ratings coming out. The last one was BTIG. Again, Noto went ahead and purchased, I think it was 31,000 shares. You could see that right here, 30,715 shares. You had 8,121,844,000. Coincidentally, the exact same number of shares I have. Over the past year, he's increased his holdings by 183,750 shares with no recorded sales of the company's stock. So very positive sign. Does it discount the fact that the Qataris just dumped 20 million shares, their entire position below 7? No, it does not. Do they know something we don't know or that Noto doesn't know? No, they do not. These guys, they make rash decisions and they're playing with money that really isn't theirs. And, you know, really is kind of the wealth of the people, but it doesn't really work that way in many, you know, with these sovereign wealth funds. So guys, not really sure what else to do other than say, you know, I think management deserves some degree of respect until they show that they're, you know, until they get off script, until they falter, until they have to come out and say, hey, those 2026 projections are no good. We're just not going to get there. Tech things behind the scenes with tech are not happening like we expect. That's not what they're saying. They're saying the opposite. They're saying the tech transition is working perfectly, not perfectly, but it's working very, very well. We're onboarding these customers. They're just in the first stages of providing revenue for Galileo and for SoFi. So if this tech thing explodes and lending explodes and it all comes together with rate cuts in 2025, and then they're able to actually exceed their sandbag projections in 2026, hit something like $1, I think we're easily looking at a $35 stock, which would be, an incredible 5x from here in only 2.5 years. I mean, it'd just be incredible for a stock sort of this conservative with this model, that this type of consistent growth, hitting their numbers, working toward their margins. Another thing, LaPointe, if you listen to him carefully, he was very, very confident about those margins. I mean, and they are sandbagging. Noto was the same way. He's like, yeah, let me stick with 20% for now. But if you really look at, how much of this revenue we're going to take to the bottom line, I think it could be much, much higher personally. But, I don't really know anything anyway, but you guys know that if you know anything. So, guys, don't sub and like whatever you do. Mike Hill is here. Lurker, try your wrench on the SoFi stock. I was just listening to some Jake Hill. Somebody told me I could not rap as fast as Jake Hill on his record, Die King. I'm quite convinced I can do it, and I might do it at some point here live for all you turds. White Feather, hey, what's up, White Feather? Lorraine, welcome and hello, Lorraine. Jason Laws, SoFi's been put in the clearance rack. Yeah, it's getting there, Jason. It is. I think it's on sale. A lot of other people think it's just a falling knife, hot mess of garbage. But I'm seeing the growth. I'm seeing, this company become profitable. I'm seeing the SoFi as a company doing all the right things. They can't control the stock price. And I think at the end of the day, fundamentals are going to win out. But is that going to happen this year, next year, S&P 500 inclusion, when hell freezes over? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. And those of you who don't have the patience, you're going to have to sell at this level or wherever you want and, go buy something else or take a nice vacation or do whatever the hell you want. Dude, Ass Face is here. Not a Lurker's here, of course. Welcome and hello, Not a Lurker and Alberto Berti Alvarez. Would like to thank Jay Money, of course, for setting up the interview yesterday with Tevis from Fundamentals of Investing. You guys, if you haven't subscribed to Tevis's channel, it's Fundamentals of Investing. You can also find him on SoFi Weekly with the great Tanner. I'm sure everybody who watches my show probably watches those guys. So anyway, welcome and hello and welcome. Ross is here. U.S. Air Force is here. Move the hair on the top of his head to his face. Not financial advice. That's funny, Air Force. Welcome and hello, Gatsby. Not White Feather. I don't know where Alberto is. I can't keep track of everybody. Ross is here. Casually late. Steven Zunker, I'm still holding as well. Steven, I don't love holding through these days, but it's just, sometimes the stock used to, you go down 7-10% seemingly for no reason. I don't think it's necessarily stuck till 2026. I don't know where people like Eric Modernell, I don't know, it's a dumb name, but no, it sounds made up. But anyway, I don't know how you can determine that it's stuck till 2026. I mean, what if the next these ERs, Eric, have not been a blowout? They haven't given any compelling reason for the stock to shoot up. It's all very controlled. Everyone knows they're sandbagging. People know they're going to hit that number. They know they're going to exceed guidance, but they're not the type of like insane beats that are just going to send the stock through the stratosphere. So if it's continually being shorted, continually being pushed down, that's just for now. I don't think that means, that shorts are going to do that for another 2.5 years, but certainly possible. Certainly possible. I'm lurking too. Your friend, everybody's lurking. He may or may not. The Ghost is here. Move the stock. Ghost. Zelle is an important feature for SoFi Bank users, but it is not a compelling, sexy presentation. We didn't have a young, long-haired executive out there flashing around a shiny thing. I think Zelle is far more important an ad for SoFi than like a luxury credit card would be, but Mr. Market just yawns. Mr. Market doesn't care about what SoFi does. Mr. Market wants to short SoFi, collect premium, keep it low, and just beat the hell out of it. And that's the way it is. That's just the way it is, guys. Matt Flo is here. Hello and welcome, Matt Flo. Yeah, I was buying the last 2 days pretty heavily for me, dude, ass face. So I am there. I am buying. Sean Vaughn is so valuable. The write down was actually for Technesis, Sean Vaughn. So it's, when you're talking about accounting, if there's a long transition period and there's not much revenue coming in at that time, it might actually be beneficial to take a write down for different accounting purposes. But I'm not an expert in, corporate accounting, so I can't speak to that. But actually the write down was on Galileo the company because Galileo encompasses Technesis, and they did overpay for Technesis. That's a true point, Sean Vaughn. Can't argue with you there. Steve in the Mountains, I made it. It's still live. Steve in the Mountains is here. Steve in the Mountains, it's Steve in the Mountains. Wacky Morning Show with Steve in the Mountains. Let me get my sound machine. No, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted either. Who is it? It's Steve in the Mountains, and he's live with us. Anyway, guys, hello and welcome. The sure all profitable gap going forward for ER. It's just the reality, Sean. Some of these things are forced, some of them are optional. Sean Vaughn is long 2,000 shares. Good on you, Sean. Thanks for watching, by the way. Thanks for stopping by and commenting. I really, really appreciate that. Whether you agree with me or not, we welcome all points of view here on Un Poco Mas. 9090's action toy sounds are on point. Thanks, Ross. Premium the option is here. SoFi still SoFi. Yeah, my biceps are kind of getting big again from these middle-aged fat man workouts, which is 8 sets of preacher curls and then a chicken quesadilla. Can't drop below 640. Yeah, that's kind of what I was seeing on the chart there, Ghost 2. That's kind of that last tail of support. Could be free fall after that, guys. Could be big trouble. So anyway, yeah, guys, that's really all I had for you guys on a Friday. Just wanted to kind of go over it. A lot of shorting, shorts. We thought they were letting go. I thought they might have been letting go. Thought this thing might have been about to flip, but options are saying another 2 months of pain, guys. I don't know. It's better than it hurting when you pee, I guess, but 2 months of pain is not exactly what the doctor ordered. And according to Eric Mardernell, Mr. Eric Mardernell, it's 2 more years of pain. So, bend over. Like I said, on the SoFi app, if you scroll right down to the bottom, they're sending out free lube for obvious reasons. They're bending you over a barrel and showing you the 50 states. And then they're also sending out a free bucket of ice so you can ice your nads from that massive steel toe boot that just got both testicles. You don't know how they get both sometimes, but they do, guys. Remember, Christmas for me with a TV dinner and a steel toe boot to the face.